to the epic official channel of Isaac Rodgers. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my Premier League ladder predictions for the 2021-22 Premier League season. So the Premier League is just around the corner. It starts on August 14 when I'm recording this on the 2nd of August. So absolutely pumped. Hope they're in for a great season, and here are my predictions. So don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Let's get into the video. 20th place, I have Watford. I just don't feel like there's enough quality in that side across the pitch to stay in the Premier League. Obviously, just coming up from the Championship after being relegated the previous season. It was a good season for them last season. Obviously going really well, going up from the top two promotion spots, but going from the Championship to the Premier League is a really big step. I think they're one of those sides that's too good for the Championship, but not there yet at the Premier League. And I just don't see the quality across the pitch for them to stay up, so I put them in 20th. 19th, I have a side that has consolidated themselves well for quite a while in the Premier League under a good manager in Sean Dyche, but I do think it's Burnley's time to go down. Haven't really splashed the cash in the last few windows. I just don't see enough quality in that side unless they go out and sign like a baller to just try keep him up. Then I really just don't see enough quality across the pitch like Watford to keep him up in the Premier League, especially if that defensive style of play that they go with most games. I'm just not sure it's going to work like that this season, and I'm sure that they'll go down. If I have a team that's been a bit of a yo-yo club in the last few years in terms of the Premier League and the Championship, it's Norwich City, if you know what I'm talking about. We've seen it basically every year. They come up to the Premier League and then they go straight back down. Up to the Premier League, straight back down. So they're not really a side that can consolidate themselves well in the Premier League. They've made some good signings with Milo Rashica from Werder Bremen, who's a good young forward. Billy Gilmore brings some experience. A young player on loan from Chelsea, who looks like a wonder kid. So obviously they won't be able to keep him, but that's a good player for the Norwich side. They've got some good experience across the pitch. They've got a good striker in Pookie, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to consolidate them in the Premier League for another season. Place narrowly avoiding relegation for me is Brighton Football Club. They're a side that's been sort of flirting with relegation in the last few years from that sort of 14th to sort of 17th spot. They've just lost Ben White to Arsenal, which is a massive loss, but it's also a massive gain because they've got a whopping 50 million for him, which is, in my opinion, a bit overpriced. But he's a good young centre-back, and it's a big loss. But, they need to make the most of that 50 million. I think they need to go out and get a striker, a prolific striker. I don't think Neil Maupay is prolific enough to score them goals. For the majority of the season, they've got Leandro Trossard on that side. Robert Sanchez in goals, been very good since he replaced Matt Ryan in the early stages of last season, and I'm not sure whether they will stay up. It wouldn't surprise me if they go down, but I think they'll do enough to stay up. Place, I have Thomas Frank's Brentford. They're a side that is more attacking minded, which could be a positive. It could be a negative for them this season, but you never know. They want to push forward, they want to score goals, they've got the attacking threat to do so, but I feel like the only player that's going to keep them up is Ivan Toney. I feel like if he has a poor season, Brentford go down. If he has a good season as minimum, I reckon Brentford stay up. I think there's a gaping quality in that side. I think they are Premier League standard, and I think they'll stay up this season. Whether they go down next season or not, that's a different story, but I reckon they'll do enough to stay up this season. Place, I have Newcastle United. A side that has showed a lot of potential at the end of last season, gaining some results against some good sides like Liverpool. Went all the way to Manchester City, with Manchester City, and just lost 4-3 and one of the games of the season. I feel like Joe Willock was a massive key to that success. If they can get him on a permanent transfer, then that would be a massive get for Newcastle. I'm not sure whether that's progressed. I heard talks from it previously, but I'm sure Newcastle will do more than enough to consolidate themselves in the Premier League comfortably for another season. Place I have Wolves. That's why they've lost their manager and Nuno to Tottenham. They've lost their goalkeeper to Roma. They've signed Jose Sa, who's not a bad backup or who's not a bad player to fill in that hole when Rui Patricio left. I don't think he's a Premier League quality goalkeeper, but I think he'll do the trick for Wolves. But they've quite severe drop off in the last few years. Wolves, ever since they got knocked out of the Europa League, finished I think middle of the table this year, which is sort of below their normal standards. But I know they still have the quality in their side. That front three of Neto, Jimenez and Trincao on loan for Barcelona will be devastating for teams if that midfield can get it to them. But they have the gaping quality in that side to stay up, and they'll be absolutely fine. In 13th place, I have Southampton. Southampton had quite a massive drop-off last season. If you track your mind back, you might remember that Southampton were top of the league after the Newcastle game that they played, where they won 2-0. I think that was like November back last season. Had a wicked run of form, but ever since then they just dropped completely off. And God knows how it went wrong, but I think Southampton are an established Premier League side. They'll be good enough there. Sign Romain Perrault, who doesn't look like a bad left back, could back up for Ryan Bertrand. Interest in Adam Armstrong to be a great get, but nonetheless, Southampton have too much quality to stay in the Prem. 12th place, I have Crystal Palace. They just lost their long-time servant manager, Roy Hodgson. They've replaced him brilliantly with Arsenal legend Patrick Vieira, who has a very different style of game to Roy Hodgson. Hodgson's very defensive. Vieira's very attacking, which could be good, could be bad for Palace. Obviously, Palace have had a history of defensive football. But I think the attacking style under Vieira will work well for them. They've signed some great players. When Eze comes back from injury, that Elise, who they've signed, Eze and Zaha will be absolutely ripping defences apart. I think their defence is a main problem. Right, they signed Gui from Chelsea, but I don't think he's quite there yet. But Crystal Palace will be good enough to stay up. I have Everton, another team that's lost a really good manager in Carlo Ancelotti to Real Madrid. It was a great get, Everton getting Carlo Ancelotti. He took them to a big chance of making Europe, which they did sort of, I wouldn't say choke on, but they had a big opportunity to get there. They didn't get there, and I think consistency is the main problem with that. If they can get their consistency right this season, Everton under new coach Rafael Benitez, then they could push for that, but I feel like a mid-table finish is just about right for them. I have Leeds United, another side under Bielsa who is a quality manager who loves attacking-minded football. They've got unbelievable team, like a side coming up from the Championship last season. I didn't expect them to be as good as they were. I tipped them to become 11th in my prediction video. But I didn't expect them to finish 9th and be competing for those European spots throughout the season. They surprised a lot of people last season, Leeds, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do drop off a bit. Sheffield United shocked everyone last season and then got relegated this season. So, will Leeds have a good season? Yes, I think they will, but I don't think it'll hit the heights of last. I have Aston Villa. They are going to lose Grealish, which is a big loss for them. But under Dean Smith, they are really building something there at Aston Villa. They've got a good side. Emi Martinez is turning into a world-class goalkeeper. They've got a good, solid back four, a good consolidated midfield, and their forward line's just getting better. They're linked with Leon Bailey. They've got a quality striker in Watkins there. Signed Buendia from Norwich. This is a great signing, and they really are going places, Aston Villa, and I think they'll finish in the top half of the table. Place I have Tottenham. It's a prediction sort of banking on Harry Kane leaving. If he leaves, I feel like they could even finish lower. If he stays, then I feel like this position, maybe 1-2 higher, will be about where they'll sit. They've got Nuno from Wolves. They haven't really done much business. They've got Brian Gill from Sevilla, who looks like a good young fullback, but that's about it. I think they've signed Galini on loan from Atalanta. He's a goalkeeper, but I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. So I feel like another sort of top half, but sort of to the lower end of top half, will be about where they finish. 7th place, I have gone for West Ham United. After a 1920 season, narrowly avoiding relegation to finishing in a Europa League spot last season, it's been a big climb for West Ham United. Honestly, this sort of the fairy tale story this season. They came close to even making the Champions League, which would have been an absolutely extraordinary achievement for a club like West Ham, but they couldn't quite get there. I think the Europa League might take a toll on them. I think they might drop 1 to 2 places at least, but I feel like they're still good enough to finish 7th. In 6th place, I have gone for Arsenal. Arsenal have only got the Premier League to focus on this season, which could be a big benefit for them. They brought in some good young players in Ben White and Nuno Tavares, which is some very good gets at fullback and centre-back to fix up what has been a shaky defence in the last few years. David Luiz leaving, which they've sort of had to offload him in the end. But I think this could be a better season for Arsenal. They've turned into a bit of a meme club in the last 2 years, but I feel like they will have a better season and potentially finish in that Europa League spot, and that is where I'm predicting them to finish. 5th place, I have Leicester City again. A 3rd consecutive season of Leicester City finishing 5th place and potentially bottling Champions League football again. Obviously, Leicester, they've established themselves as a big 6 side. If you're counting Tottenham and Arsenal over Leicester, then you're an absolute mug. But Leicester, they've got a good manager in Brendan Rodgers. They're going places with their side. They've got a young side with that experience of Jamie Vardy up front, Kasper Schmeichel in goal. I've got a good gradient between experienced and young players. So I feel like they've got a really good side and they're going to really push for that Champions League football. Whether they get it or not, that's another question. But I think they'll finish 5th. I'm going to Merseyside. I'm predicting Liverpool to finish 4th place in the Premier League this season. Obviously, Liverpool champions in the 1920 season. Dropped off last season, almost missed Champions League, but they got through in the end. Of course, Liverpool will make top 4. They're too good to not make top 4, to be honest, but I just don't think Liverpool are showing any sign of intent. They're not really making any signings. I know they've got a fully fit squad back, but Jurgen Klopp will take them to Champions League. They'll go well. They'll challenge for the title. It's just I think the other sides above them will be too strong. I have put Chelsea Football Club. They're a side that's not really mucking around, Chelsea. They've got a lot of cash, but they're not really splashing it out just yet. I do reckon as time progresses, they will sort of splash that cash, maybe get a defender, a striker, maybe even a midfielder too. They've got that much cash. But Thomas Tuchel, since he's taken over the reign from Frank Lampard, he's been unbelievable. He's beaten Pep Guardiola 3 times in the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the Champions League final. He's taken them all the way to win the Champions League. Do I reckon they can step up and take it all the way in the Premier League? I don't reckon it will be this season, but they will give it a red-hot crack. Only leaves the 2 Manchester clubs, 1 and 2, in the Premier League for 21-22 season. And the team that I think will win it is Manchester City again. They will go back-to-back. As much as Manchester United have a great team, they're investing in the likes of world-class players in Sancho and Rafael Varane, and just building that team up to the next level of what it already was. And Manchester City, well, how can they be stopped, Already the world-class team, and they're on the brink of signing Jack Grealish and linked with Harry Kane too. So, it'll be very tough for any team to catch Manchester City. And that's why I think they'll be the Premier League champions for this season. Well, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you leave your predictions down in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.